So first of all, it has cameras in the front, so you see someone came up. So it'll have a welcoming message of some kind, say, hey, welcome to so-and-so.
It's great. This is a hazelnut latte. The robot made it all on its own. It tastes great. Very foamy, very cold.
Something like that. And it prompts the customer to engage like a normal barista would. So then you can ask the robot, hey, what do you have?
What if the coffee you grab every morning isn't the fresh brew you think it is, but a carefully engineered recipe designed to cover up declining bean quality? Starbucks, Dunkin', Tim Hortons, big names with big reputations. But behind the branding, darker roasting, automated machines, and stale batch brewing are quietly stripping your cup of its character. The question is simple. If you're drinking a coffee that looks right, smells right, but tastes flat, what's really in your cup? Stay with me because the answer is both unsettling and eye-opening. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. Your morning coffee might look like a comforting ritual, but what if it has already been engineered against you before the first sip? The bag might promise premium beans, and the store might display slick images of steaming lattes. But behind the counters of the largest chains, the artistry has been replaced with systems built for cost control. Centralized roasting facilities churn out batches measured by tonnage, not taste, and automation ensures each cup is identical no matter where you buy it. What gets lost in the process is the individuality that true coffee carries. The small differences that come from varied regions, careful roasting, and barista skill. One tactic used to keep this machine running smoothly is the heavy reliance on dark roasting. A darker roast acts as a cover, burning away the original character of the beans so that low-grade product can hide behind bitterness and smoke.
In Seattle's Capitol Hill neighborhood, the vibe is downright artisanal, and the coffee among the rarest there is.
And we would customize it and bring it to you fresh.
Well, the coffees that we're going to have here are much fancier than
One-of-a-kind place that would be so immersive, in which we would roast the finest micro-lot coffees the world had to offer.
Starbucks became the hallmark of this method, shifting its reputation from neighborhood cafe to industrial producer. Former employees described the experience as drinking a recipe rather than a brew, a cup designed for predictability instead of discovery. The beans themselves no longer mattered. The uniform roast did the talking. The science backs up what drinkers taste. Once beans are pushed to higher roast levels, lighter notes of fruit, floral sweetness, and bright acidity vanish completely.
So first, there are reports that Dunkin' Donuts is testing its own version of nitrogen-infused coffee. It's a cold brew poured from a tap.
The coffee colada is not healthy.
A large mocha with whipped cream contains about 990 calories and 133 grams of sugar, then infused with nitrogen. Starbucks rolled out a similar product last year. But you can say goodbye to the coffee colada.
Dunkin' widened the problem when it leaned on lower altitude beans and embraced bulk brewing that diluted every pot. The end result was a cup darker in color but lighter in complexity, a step further away from freshness. It's camouflage, like military paint covering the dented body of a vehicle. You don't see the flaws, but they're still there. And this hidden engineering doesn't just dull flavor. It reshapes what coffee used to mean. A ritual that once invited individuality now becomes a commodity. The chains trade on consistency, masking uniform mediocrity as premium. The next turn, however, is even more revealing. What happens when the human element that once defined coffee is stripped away in favor of machines programmed to replace judgment? What happens when brewing coffee stops being a craft and becomes a set of programmed steps? At one time, a skilled barista relied on touch, timing, and judgment. Today, in most chain stores, those same roles have been replaced by calibrated machines. Espresso tampers apply uniform pressure with the push of a button, shots are cut off at exact seconds, and bulk thermal urns pump out gallons of pre-brewed coffee.
which allows us to roast very specifically small lots of coffee that have nuances that we don't see in normal production.
Pound.
There will be a premium price to this coffee because of the unique rare aspect of these coffees in the way we're brewing it. Coffee that will be roasted here in the roastery will be presented to over 1,500 Starbucks stores. We'll be opening up.
Efficiency is guaranteed, but the small adjustments that once kept a drink balanced are stripped away. Automation almost eliminates variation, but that stability comes at a cost. Coffee brewing has always been sensitive to small changes. How tightly the grind is packed, how much pressure is applied, or how water flows through the grounds. Machines erase these choices and set them into rigid formulas. At Peet's, operations shifted to gram-specific dosing in second-by-second brew cycles.
And coming into the silos, and where the barista will then actually scoop it and put it into the grinders.
Thankful to Starbucks for building a market for fancy coffee, is questioning if the company can reinvent itself as a hip hand crafter.
I think once you're large, it's really hard to get the consumer's perception that you are authentic and small batch roasted with the best quality.
Workers said you notice the process more than the bean, with each cup echoing a mechanical repeat rather than a distinct flavor. What is lost is the give and take between bean and brewer. The problem does not end there. Once coffee moves from fresh extraction into bulk storage, its chemistry begins to break down. Oxygen dissolves into the liquid, oils degrade under heat, and delicate flavors flatten into bitterness. Coffee held for hours in thermal pots often develops a weaker body and sometimes metallic notes. Tim Hortons, for example, kept pots topped off by mixing old coffee with fresh, stretching the supply but blending stale with new. The outcome was a thinner drink, carrying nothing of its original sparkle. Chains like Panera or 7-Eleven rely on huge vessels and hot plates, showing a clear choice. Quantity first, nuance second. And yet customers keep returning. Billions of cups are sold every year, even as many drinkers notice something feels off. The answer lies in branding and flavoring. Syrups, heavy creams, and sugars turn an ordinary base into something sweet, masking the decline. Chains built loyalty through routine, leaving consumers paying not for richness, but for repetition disguised as comfort. The Trojan horse is already inside the cup. Chain coffee isn't built for taste. It's engineered for cost, efficiency, and sameness. The signs are right there if you pay attention. Smell the drink and notice when the aroma is flat instead of layered. Feel the body on your tongue. Thin, watery, or bitter means corners have been cut. Recognize when every latte tastes identical, regardless of season or bean origin. That uniformity is not quality, it's control. True coffee should breathe life into the ritual. Anything less is little more than a caffeine ration dressed as something greater.